Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we are at CEDIA 2025 in Sound Room 11. I've got my friend here, Jim, with Lumagen. Jim, this is an incredible space. So we've got an incredible theater that you've built literally in a few days with some great partners, and we're going to talk to each one of them here in just a little bit. But I wanted to start with you because you have a video processor here in the dedicated space. But tell me about Lumagen. Who are you? Your story, and then we've got some products that we're going to talk about as well.
That sounds great. This is the Artisan that we're introducing, but we've been building video processors for 23 years now. And they're award-winning. They're used in professional studios for audio studios, for lip sync. They're used in a very large studio for doing the quality checks for the consumer releases. So the video processor is the front-end electronics for your projector or your television. So you have similar electronics in your television when you buy it or in your projector. Our goal is to do the best job possible. So we have dynamic tone mapping that takes the content for HDR for a projector from 1,000 or 4,000 nits and shows it well on your 80 nit or 100 nit projector. We're doing all this in real time. We're doing scene detection. We're setting the transfer function, which is just the response curve for that scene independently. We also do things like instant auto aspect. We can control masking screens from Seymour and Stewart, and we do all sorts of other features, great scaling, setup for geometry, little features that really are specific to projection-based cinemas. And we do that and do things that other companies just don't have time for. Projectors, they're about the light engine. And so they're not able to spend as much time. We focus, we make or break on doing the best job. And so a producer, John Thompson, for a major studio has for 8 years used the Lumagen to do his basically grading quality check for consumer releases. And he's able to look at how well we match his studio reference master. And he says we are the only product that he can do a good job matching his studio reference master. So our motto for 20 years has been see what the director intended. And that's what you get with the Radiance Pro. Your projector will do things, but it won't do it as well as our product, at least. That is the goal.
And a lot of times, you know, and I've shared this with you guys, is that when you have something that's an all-in-one, it typically doesn't do everything great. And so when you take the processing out of the projector, place it into something like this, this has components that are just designed to handle, like you said, the dynamic tone mapping to make sure that your brights are as bright as they can be, the darks are as dark as they can be, the colors, you know, everything about that. But then you were even talking about the masking system. So Seymour-Screen Excellence has been in a lot of these theater rooms here and these showrooms and in the sound rooms. And your processor tells Chris's screen, we're going to talk to Chris in a little bit, tells it when to change. So when you're watching Kaleidescape and you're doing a script, I like running scripts on my Kaleidescape, and we go from a scope screen or an image to a 16:9, Lumagen is telling that to go ahead and drop down. Is that correct?
Exactly. So we've been demoing that here in the booth as we change from 16:9 content to 240 content. The mask automatically changes, and we can do that in any system. So even in 16:9 projectors, there are people who want to make the image bigger, fill the 240, fill more of their screen. So we basically are about you getting what you want the way you want. Dynamic tone mapping, you program the max light, but you can adjust how much you want to have highlights versus how much you want to have the brightness increase, and how much headroom you want for increases within a scene, and how bright your projector is or how bright your television is. So we try to make it very user-friendly, very programmable.
So one thought that I have is that I know every once in a while, and I hate this, directors will come out with a movie that switches aspect ratios in the middle of a stinking movie. It bothers me, I'll be honest with you.
I do not like that effect. I wish they wouldn't do it. So with the Lumagen, what you just do after you start a movie that has those changes, you disable auto aspect. You watch the whole movie for 240 on a 240 screen, and what you're getting is all of the important content, and the scenes that have some content above and below the screen, that's not the important content.
Right.
You're not really losing anything, and it doesn't take you out of the movie when this aspect ratio changes. First time I saw that, I just like, what happened? What
I don't understand it. And I know there's, we talked about director's intent, and that's what you desire. But the reality is, I like it when a brand says, you know what, we're going to give you, the consumer, the choice.
Right.
You choose if you want to do this or do this, because ultimately it's our theater rooms.
Absolutely.
And so we should have some control over certain aspects of that. And so some of you that like director's intent, then you're going to use one thing. If you don't, you have that flexibility with Lumagen.
Right. So for an anamorphic screen, if you were in a commercial cinema, you're going to watch the whole movie anamorphic.
Right.
You're not going to see those changes because you're making the 16:9 or the 1.9 sections smaller instead of larger. So you watch the whole movie that way. On a 16:9 or 1.9 screen, then it's built into the content. Yeah. And if you like that, you can watch that.
So Jim, what are we talking price-wise? You've got several different models. We've got the new model here. We've got the one that we're using here in this theater. Walk us through that.
So our entry model is $59.95 US. So that has 2 inputs and 2 outputs.
All right.
And that gives you the option of putting us in front. If you only have, a lot of people will have like a Blu-ray and an Apple TV or something. Sure. So that gives you the option for us to do the switching or to do the switching in the audio processor. Our high-end current product is the 5348, and it has 10 inputs and 3 outputs.
Goodness.
So that is, a lot of people will have a projector and either a monitor or a television outside waiting room, so you can do that, and then audio for that. So 10 inputs gives you all the switching you need.
Sure.
Our highest end product also has deep jitter circuitry to make audio better, and all our products have Genlock to basically improve lip sync. And we have programmable video delay to improve and allow you to adjust for lip sync. And we also have a game mode. The game mode with Genlock on is 3 milliseconds. It's a true game mode where gamers, even very intense gamers, say that is fast enough.
Interesting.
I can use your processor.
So that's great to know, because a lot of times when you introduce a video processor, that's going to slow down. It's going to add basically lag.
Right.
And so that's great to know that you're thinking of the gamers, because I'm a very casual gamer. I mean, I'm not a hardcore gamer, but I like to game in my theater room. I like to put it on the big screen. And so I know there's a lot of people that would love to do that. So having the ability to lead this in play so they get the best gaming experience, I think that's super cool as well.
Yeah, we see a lot of gamers who'd like to take and stretch their 16:9 game out to fill their anamorphic screen. And so we can do that with a nonlinear stretch. I don't like it that much, but again, it's the user gets the choice.
And I love that. So again, you might like that or don't like it, but I may like it. And so that's where we have the flexibility of building our space exactly like we want it.
So we start at $6,000. The product here is a 5244 with 6 in and 2 out.
Okay.
The 5348 is $99.95. And this introductory price, this is an 8K ready, so it's 4K 60 now, later with the key. So it's $99.95 introductory price with a $2,000 key at a later date where we'll allow 8K. So 8K chips, very large FPGA, lots of extra resources, more than we have today, so we have a lot of room to add features over time.
Okay. So is this availability? How soon can we get this?
We are planning 2025.
Okay. So that's here.
Yes, it's close.
So by the end of the year.
Yes, so that is our goal, and we have this working in the lab and able to press video, and we're continuing to work on our coding, and we're FPGA based, field programmable gate array. So that's hardware that can be reconfigured. So like a PC could be reprogrammed, we can actually do different hardware algorithms. And so the Radiance Pro has been in production for over 10 years now. When we started, the FPGA was only half full. Now it's about 75% full, but we're able to add features over time, and we'll be able to do the same thing. And if you look at the Lumagen website, you'll see all of the updates we've had over the years and the tremendous improvement we've been able to do over the years for video quality.
Well, I love it, man. You continue to innovate. You continue to be forward thinking in what the community needs in their theater rooms, in their gaming setups. So, man, I appreciate your time. This has been awesome.
Well, thanks.
So Sound Room 11, we brought the industry's least expensive masking screen. It's called the Trim. It's 120 inch. I'm going to be doing a lot of this, if that's okay. It's 120 inches wide, so diagonal's about 138, I think.
Okay.
Top-bottom masking. And we didn't want to do an acoustically transparent version with this, because the NextLevel Acoustics, we wanted to see their speakers, nice spread, and more traditional, common with layout.
Sure.
So we brought our reference non-AT material. This is a white, reference white. It's called a radiant white material, and it's perfectly smooth. So you could even use it ultra short. There's no features to it whatsoever. No sparkle. It's a reference material. Yeah. And with this Trim masking screen, so this is the industry's least expensive masking screen. Yeah. Still handmade to order in Iowa. So this isn't just a container load of product that we brought in. Yeah. You can call and talk to Matt, who's making the screen for you. And this year we added a feature where the masks themselves are also made out of a fabric pile velvet. We developed this different version of the velvet to match our deep velvet frames in color, but the pile is oriented differently so that it behaves well and it rolls up on this rollers. So you don't have that meshy top, meshy fields kind of in those masking areas. It's dead black for those masking zones.
Yeah. So for guys that don't understand, like, what's the benefit of masking? Why would I want masking in a theater?
Sure. So in a bat cave environment, the white screen can look completely black as well. But if you put any content onto it, even credits, you're going to light up the room. You're going to light up some clothing. I'm wearing pretty dark clothing, but maybe you have a white shirt. Furniture. You're going to light something up in the room that's going to splash back onto that screen. Yeah. And so you're going to have gray bars on top bottom, gray bars on the side, and what that masking does is it trims in and reframes that and then gives you a higher perceived contrast ratio, because now you have a dead black edge and everywhere it's shaped properly, and then your image looks higher contrast and higher quality.
Yeah, so I love that. And so it's more than just hiding the gray bars. It actually tricks our brain to think that image looks a lot better.
It is. We've been in projector shootouts before where had a $5,000 projector and a $26,000 projector, and all in all, everybody's like, oh, that 26, really, really nice.
Right.
Then I clicked the masking on that $5,000 projector, and people were like, wait a minute.
Like, oh snap, what just happened?
Now there's reasons to prefer this image. They can kind of still see it.
Sure.
We saved $21,000, and that'll improve any projector along the line. Right. So we're happy to be partnered with great partners, the Lumagen's controlling this masking screen automatically. Yeah. So in this case, as the content changes from F1 to, I don't know, their commercial, for example, but different ratios, Lumagen's already sending those signals to our controller to tell it what to do, so we don't need this automation step in the middle.
So Chris, how long does it take for that masking to take place?
So it can take a few seconds. I wouldn't advocate to use it for one of those movies like Maverick that's popping up and down all the time. There's not really a good solution for that, except maybe the Lumagen's nonlinear scaling.
That's the way I would do it.
Kind of kick that in.
I just want to leave it there. I don't want to see it. I hate it when a director says, "Oh, I want to have this and then this and it's changing." Like Interstellar, that's a pain in the butt. So with the Lumagen, that fixes that. You're right, because it's going to change so quickly. By the time it moves down, it's ready to move back up.
So at least on this screen, and we're experimenting with some mechanical ways of doing this. So we may have some solutions down the road, but right now I don't really advocate for it. This screen, though, being a constant width, the masks are going to be top and bottom. So like for a Maverick, I would just leave it all the way up and let it scale itself however it is. If that bothers you for some reason, then kick that nonlinear scaling in. It could be Lumagen's this nonlinear scaling is really clean.
So of course with Seymour-Screen Excellence, you can get acoustically transparent. You guys make some massive screen. What's the biggest screen you've ever made?
We did 4-way masking screen. It was 400 some inches wide, so diagonals in the 5s somewhere. I don't know. I don't do math in public.
That's wild though. To be able to make that big of a screen.
And that's a capital investment for a major studio's premium executive screening site. But here we want to show you can have the same screen material, same masking functionality, and at this least expensive of our 3 masking platforms, like that's an entry-level price. It's not a scary price. It's half the price of any other masking screen out there. So
awesome, man. All right, I've got Chuck here with Trinnov. Chuck, tell us what's in this room.
Well, the heart of this system for the audio is the Trinnov Altitude 32 1624. It's our 24-channel processor running the optimizer for the speaker and room correction. So we're bringing out the very best of all the audio gear in the room, the NextLevel Acoustics speakers and SpeakerPOWER amplifiers. We're running waveforming in the system, so that's our advanced subwoofer technology.
So tell us a little bit about that. Some folks may not be familiar with waveforming. What is that? Why would I need that in my theater?
Waveforming is our way of resolving a problem that has existed from the first creation of a room with sound in it. Because rooms have dimensions, those dimensions determine what we call standing waves. There are certain frequencies that are going to be reinforced because the wavelength of that frequency has a relation to the dimension of the room. And there are multiple dimensions of the room. We've got height, we've got width, we've got multiple reflections. So all of these things contribute to altering the sound perceived in the room. Certain frequencies get boosted, certain frequencies get cut.
And we don't want that with bass.
we don't want that. I'm sitting in one seat and the bass is too loud. You're sitting next to me and you're saying, where'd the bass go? And that's common. There have been a lot of techniques to address that. We can do things like use multiple subwoofers, 4 subwoofers, maybe in the corners, for example. We can do things like adjust delay and level on subwoofers, trying to get a balance. It's an iterative process, so there's no easy scientific way to do it until now. So waveforming is a process that's been developed over really 8 years of basic research at Trinnov Audio. What we are looking to do is actually eliminate the creation of standing waves in the first place. And instead of doing a Band-Aid approach, trying to cover up the problem, we're going to make it go away. So what we do is we have an algorithm in the processor. We give specific instructions on where to place subwoofers. Now, we've demonstrated waveforming with multiple subwoofers in large rooms, showing the maximum performance. In this case, in this room, we have 4 subwoofers, which is the basic requirement.
So that is the minimum you gotta have.
If you have 4 subs, you can go for it. Basically, it is 2 subs in the front, 2 subs in the back. Ideally, they're going to be placed at the quarter points of the walls. And then as you graduate to higher levels of performance, the subwoofers get placed in the walls. So we're going to have subs elevated from the floor at, again, typically quarter points.
So up against the wall, but then up on the wall.
On the wall, in the wall. They could be against the wall. If you're building a baffle wall, for example, optimal, it's going to be in the wall. So with this typical room we're going to talk about, where we're going for maximum performance, we're going to have 4 subs in the front, 4 subs in the back. The subs in the front are going to be primarily emitters. They're going to be used as an array. As you know, we can steer sound with arrays. We're common, that sort of thing that happens with sound reinforcement. You go to a concert that's outdoors, the sound goes towards the seats, not towards the neighbors. We're doing that at low frequencies in a small room, which is amazing. So the front subs are emitters. They direct the sound towards the seats, but away from the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. That wave comes through very clean, very precise, but it's going to hit the back wall and potentially create a front-to-back standing wave. So the rear subs act primarily as absorbers to soak up that back wave and cancel that standing wave that could have been created. So as a result, what we get is much greater impact. There's more energy getting, you get more of a chest punch. John Wick is going to hit you in the gut. And you get seat-to-seat consistency that's essentially unachievable with other methods. We can hit the CEDIA RP22 standard, which is plus or minus 2 dB at low frequencies, not just for the 2 seats required for the standard, but for multiple seats in the theater.
There's probably how many seats in there? 6 or 8?
I think we're 8 and some additional seats in the back on risers. And they're all getting a consistent bass experience with decay times that are reduced enormously. So the clarity of the bass increases. So you've got more punch, you've got more clarity, not just at the low frequencies, but also improves the rest of the spectrum because you don't have that mud covering up the mids and highs. And so it's a remarkable technology, and it's available that anyone has a Trinnov processor.
That's awesome. So I was talking with Matthew Pose, and he kind of described it this way. He said it's kind of like a pitcher and a catcher. Your front bass array is the pitcher, and it's sending the sound waves to you. And then the rear ones are actually catching that sound and absorbing that sound Very interesting technology.
Yeah, and it's a picture with very good control because it can send that sound exactly to the seats.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck, you're all over CEDIA, right? How many booths do you have here?
We have Trinnov processors in 6 different rooms around the show.
That's awesome.
So it's a nice representation, wide variety. 3 of the rooms are doing waveforming.
Sure.
3 of them are doing smaller systems that are a little more real world for media rooms and that sort of thing, where people aren't building custom theater. But it's been great.
Well, I love it, man. I've got a Trinnov Altitude 32 in my home, so we're playing with that, testing it. So I wanted to see, can the average consumer be able to set this up, use it? Now, I totally understand having an integrator that knows this thing inside and out. They're going to get way more performance out of this, but I'm really enjoying it. I found it super intuitive. It was very simple to, place the microphone, run the calibration. But now my next step is I want to get some additional conversation with your team to say, okay, show me some more stuff. What other cool things can I do as a consumer? And then I'll be sharing that on my channel.
Excellent. Yeah, with the Altitude, we have a wizard that walks you through the basic setup steps and gets you almost all the way there. It's an excellent performance using the wizard. But we have such a greater depth of tools, and that's exactly what we're talking to you about.
Yeah, I was like, oh well, there's a lot under this hood, man. There's a bunch you can do. So if you really know what you're doing and you got the tools to be able to measure, Trinnov is going to give you a huge amount of flexibility to tune your room to its best performance.
Right. Absolutely. That's what we're all about.
All right, Rob, we're in this beautiful room. Tell us what kind of system we've got. We've got an incredible home theater setup, speakers, subwoofers, and there's a lot in here. So tell us the speaker configuration and what we're looking at here.
Sure. Okay, so speaker configuration wise, we have a 9.4.6 system. So these are our Cinema Pros. Horn-based system, but really the special sauce when it comes to the horn-based system is a lot of times with horns, you're going to get that cinematic output, but it starts getting fatiguing on the ears, especially in the upper frequencies. So we build all of our speakers in-house. We do all our crossover work in-house. So what our lead speaker designer was able to do was able to limit 90% of those first order reflections. So what does that mean in layman's terms? It basically means that you're getting the cinematic output of a horn with the ability and finesse of a silk dome tweeter. It's absolutely wild and absolutely mind-blowing. And that's what we were showing today in terms of our whole cinema system.
And typically for a home theater system, silk dome tweeters can't get the output that you need.
Correct.
And so you're able to kind of mesh that. You take the benefits that we would get out of a silk dome, but the output out of a horn.
Exactly.
Love it. Very cool.
Exactly. So it's kind of double duty. You're able to, you're able to hit those explosions and gunshots, but then you're able to get silky smooth vocals such as Norah Jones and some of the tracks that we've seen in here today.
Sure. So we've got 3. So we've got one behind here, or is it down here?
It's actually down low. So we're doing a non-acoustically transparent screen. Normally this would be up a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got 3 anchoring the front sound stage. And then we have, in terms of our subwoofers, these are proprietary to NextLevel. So these are high velocity subs. It's a very unique design. So what you'll notice with high velocities is that 4 of these doing waveforming, we're able to pressurize this pretty big room.
Yeah, this is a nice size room.
This is a nice size room. This is 16 by 24, and these were able to pressurize them easily. These are super efficient. I think we were putting about 700 watts of power into them, except we were only going about halfway up. So 350, and we were pressurizing this room and hitting, 16 hertz, 115, 118 dB, 15 feet away. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive. What's great about the high velocities is that it's basically in the name. So as fast as they hit is as fast as they're out. So traditionally what you see with a lot of front firing subs is that they may hit subsonic. These are not meant to hit subsonic.
Okay, fair.
But they're traditionally, those bigger front firing subs are traditionally a lot slower. So these are super quick, hence the high velocity.
Right.
And because of the customization and the proprietary build of what's going on inside, second and third order harmonics, there's virtually no distortion. And that's what you'll kind of see is it'll hit hard and clean and then out.
And we've got 15-inch drivers here, right?
That is correct. And they're all sealed inside. And
everybody else is bringing these big monsters. And you're like, you know what? Let's show them what we can do with 4 15s in a pretty good sized room.
Exactly.
And still get some great tactile experience.
Exactly. And that was our whole point, is that we wanted to show what you can get done at a reasonable price point without having to put in 16 speakers, 32 speakers, 47 subs, you know,
Sure.
so on and so forth.
So if a customer wanted to go bigger or smaller in the subs or the LCR, do you have that available as well?
Absolutely. So what's great about these, so these are on-wall versions.
Okay.
We also make these as in-wall versions. For on-walls, we can do different veneers and stains and finishes and custom grill fabrics.
Okay.
We have also in-wall versions, and then we have partial in-wall versions.
Interesting.
So what's great is that these are normally for 2x6 construction.
All right.
But if you have 2x4, don't worry, you can still get these because most of it sits in the wall. We have a collar system, so all you see on the wall is 1.5 inches.
Okay.
So as long as you can get your screen out 2 inches, now you can retrofit these into 2x4.
Sure. Subwoofers, bigger,
Yes.
smaller?
Absolutely. So this is our top of the line. It's our 15-inch. We also make a 12-inch and a 10-inch model.
Nice. So tell us about surrounds and heights.
Absolutely. So for surrounds, we actually have our Cinema 8. So why don't we walk over here?
Okay.
So these are our Cinema 8. So these are the same 8-inch drivers that you see in the Cinema Pros. And everything that we do is compact form factor, right? High efficiency. These are 95 dB efficient.
Okay.
The Cinema Pros are 96 dB efficient. So you can drive these for days without, you don't need a ton of amplification, but if you want to add it onto it, then you'll have even more headroom. So again, same 4x4 system, same internal crossover to get these to do double duty, which is both cinematics and output, but with the finesse and articulation of silk dome tweeters.
Okay, so we're using that as bed layer for the surrounds.
That's correct.
Rear surrounds. And then your heights are a little bit different as well.
The heights are a little bit different. So we make what's called an IC44A. They're two 4.5-inch drivers with a tweeter, and they're ported. But because there's no really ceiling to mount these in, we actually modified these for the show.
Okay.
So these are actually on-ceiling versions, except with no angle, because we're actually able to angle the whole speaker. So they're only about 3 inches deep, but these can do about 300 watts each.
Nice.
So I mean, they're pretty serious, but the form factor, again, nice and small and compact.
All right, Rob, so if somebody wanted to build a theater room just like this, using the same exact speakers used in this sound room,
Yes.
what are we looking at cost-wise?
Okay, so cost-wise, all in, it's around $52,000 retail. Okay, and that's for everything. That's for 19 speakers.
Right.
So we're all about the value proposition, right? Our goal is to try to get these into the hands as many people without having to be a 1%er, right? And so our goal is to give performance that far outweighs price point. You know, 3, 4, 5 times, you know, in terms of value. I mean, if we were basing this on performance, these would easily be 4 or 5 times what we're actually charging in the marketplace.
Yeah. And again, we talked about earlier how, you know, if your budget is bigger or smaller, you've got some solutions for that as well.
Absolutely. We can kind of run the whole gamut, right? So these are flagships. We have other models to fit a multitude of budgets.
All right, Rigo, we've built a relationship over the past year, dude. I love what you're doing with Speaker Power. Most of the time, people, when they think of Speaker Power, they think of plate amps for subwoofers.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're introducing some really cool products, and we've got some in the Obsessed Home Theater Lab, and you've got some here at the show. And so tell us what you brought to the show, tell us about your products, and where you're headed in Speaker Power.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been obviously well known in terms of our subwoofer amplifiers, and we don't really have anything full range to kind of complete, you know, I like myself like to have complete systems from like the brands that I love. So the idea there is to, okay, how can we make a product that can pair well with our subs and keep up with our subs, right? Our big heavy hitters. So what we are trying to do with this, and what we did here with Sound Room 11, was we're powering all the Atmos, and also we're introducing some sub amps that are designed to be used for waveforming. So in this theater here, we have 2 of the 8 channels. So it's 8 channels. Go ahead and show you here. It's 8 channels. It's 400 watts a channel. And the beauty of it is it has both XLR and RCA connectors. Binding posts. So whether you're on the Anthem, whether you're on a Denon, whether you're on a high-end Storm or Trinnov, whatever that case is, this got you covered. Or maybe you're upgrading from a system on something you have, right?
Okay.
You don't want to necessarily maybe change all your cables, all your RCAs and stuff. So what we've done is we put high-quality RCAs, name brand Neutrik XLR, so it's a piece that's designed to last a long time. And what we're trying to do with this amp is just come into the market, high quality, high piece, very high value proposition for consumers, right? Like yourself.
Yeah.
And it's designed to last a long time. And what what the main idea here is, how do we bring that technology from and our pedigree of manufacturing into the full range market?
Sure.
And that's what kind of we're trying to do with this amp. So we have 2 of these in the sound room.
Okay.
And then we have basically a 4-channel, 700 watt by 4-channel, powering the subs in the 4 corners to give us the waveforming that you experience in there. So, yeah.
So Rigo, normally we don't hear 800 watts a channel and 700 watts. That's some big numbers, man. Class D amplification.
Yep, exactly.
So we're keeping the amp cool. Lots and lots of power. Is that into 8 ohms? 4 ohms?
4 ohms.
Okay,
4
so
ohms, yeah.
800 watts into 4 ohms. What are we getting in like 8 ohms? For those that have 8 ohm speakers.
So we are coming out with this model in a basically for the LCRs.
Okay.
It's going to be 800 watts into 8 ohms.
Okay. Oh man,
Yeah, so
800 watts into 8 ohms.
So you can really make your towers sing if
Yeah.
you got towers in your front stage or something
Sure.
like that.
So sometimes in when we're building out a theater room, our speakers are inefficient.
Yeah.
And so some speakers you may have heard, like, man, these things really come alive when you put some massive power to
Exactly.
it. That'd be awesome. But what about sensitive speakers? Like my speakers are JTR. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
JTR. They don't take a whole lot of power.
Yeah.
Do I need 700 watts?
I wouldn't recommend you get it. It's a waste of power, right? I mean, I should say, yeah, buy the biggest power. But
Right.
for those sensitive speakers, the other benefit of this amp is very low noise floor. Ultra quiet, very, very, almost no hiss unless your ear is right up against the horn, right? But it's designed to be used with those high efficiency speakers as well. So it's
Sure.
a very flexible and capable amplifier.
So I see this red finish. This is
Yeah.
beautiful, man. I love the chassis on this thing. All aluminum?
Yep, that's right. Everything's aluminum.
Okay.
What we're trying to go is for a more sleek aesthetic look, kind of make it more modern, bring it up to date from our current offerings on our website. And the red it's not for sale.
Yeah,
sadly.
that looks
but,
awesome.
I mean, unless we get interest, right?
Okay, so if you guys are interested, let Rigo know.
Yeah, unless we get interest, but
That might could be a obsessed home theater version.
maybe,
All
I
right,
don't
right.
know.
We'll talk
Anyway.
later.
But yeah, so the idea here is just we made it red for the show so it could pop get people's eyes,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. So, but yeah,
So
people have
this
been
will
loving
typically
it.
come in what, black?
Yeah, black, and then we're thinking about silver, but
Okay.
typically everybody ends up going with black. So we
Sure.
may just do the black.
So walk us through the product line, what you're coming out with.
Yeah, so
different channels. What are we thinking?
So we're
there?
still right now we have this 8-channel as well as a 4-channel. We're debating on whether to do a 3-channel or
Okay.
maybe like a 6-channel, something like that.
Yeah.
But to just in home theater you always have the odd count where it's just
Sure.
like
What do you do with that one?
What do
Yeah.
you do with that extra channel?
Yep.
So we've made it compact enough because if you've noticed, most 8 channels are 3, 4U,
Yeah.
8 channels. Where this, you can get 60 channels in a 4U,
Yeah.
equivalent. So that's
Right.
that's the beauty of
Yeah.
it. And we, like I said, we didn't cheap out on the parts. It has a
Yeah.
high quality power button, sleek front. So if
Sure.
you do have it, in your console in your living room,
Yeah.
it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Rigo, when are these available?
These we're hoping to launch them for production in this fall. So
Okay,
October,
so later on
November.
this
Yeah.
year they could get into
So
this.
people can have it. We want people to have them for when family comes over for like
Yeah.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we've got some on order.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to be getting them in. We're going to make some content on it, share our experience with it. But like I said, I love the fact that you don't just take somebody else's stuff and build it, but you can manufacture.
Yep.
Like you can completely design and make some cool custom
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So that's really, really cool. That's pretty unique in the
That's
space.
the thing. And the other thing we want to do is like hear customer feedback. So if you do get them, you say, "Hey, Rigo, needs to get changed," or "I found this little issue." We'll work, on that and see how we can improve the product
Yeah.
as well. So the end user has absolute best experience with our stuff.
I really appreciate you because you even reached out to us and said, "Hey, Michael and Rusty, Matt, like, what are some things that we could do to make the best product possible for the
exactly.
consumer, for the home theater enthusiast?"
Exactly.
And so, there were certain things that we had conversation with, and I appreciate that because that means you're listening. You're trying to make a product that the consumers want and to meet the needs that they have versus just figuring out, we'll try this and see if it works.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love what you're doing. So I see this one is rack mountable.
Yeah, that's
Are you
right.
going to make one without rack
Yeah,
mountable?
we're actually going to do that. We're going to have the rack mount. Oh.
All right, guys. So we had to get out some lighting. They're shutting down the blaze, but we're going to keep rolling here.
Exactly.
Rigo, I notice here we've got rack mounts.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
do you offer a non-rack mount?
Yeah, so that was one of the things you had called me about. It's like, hey, you plan to offer these and no, without rack ears, and the idea was like we can detach them, put them on the side or whatever. But I like the clean front look, so
Sure.
we're gonna offer it like this with the rack ears built in.
Okay.
Or with another front without the rack ears. So
Yeah.
basically just chopping off the
There'll be
rack
two
ears.
different SKUs, basically.
Yeah, basically.
So-
Just to make it, user friendly for the consumer. And if you ever need to put it on a rack, just get a rack shelf, put it on there. and
Sure.
good to go, so.
So think about this. You're basically saying we're willing to invest more time, more money, more engineering to make a product that looks nicer and cleaner in your rack
Exactly.
than something that would be easier for us to put some screws in the side, to
Yeah.
put an L bracket.
Exactly.
So again, I think you're heading in the right direction,
Yep.
and that's why we're really excited about what you're doing in the space for home theater, and we're excited to see what you come up with.
Exactly. And the whole main idea was of this amp and this line is to make it look nice. And that way people, when they have it, if they don't have a dedicated home theater, maybe they just want to amplify their 5.1 in their living room, they can have this sitting out, or maybe in their media center, but they don't need rack ears, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to move sometimes without the rack ears. So that's one of the things that you had mentioned to me, and I thought it was a good idea, so we're gonna move with that.
Well, Jim, this has been an amazing experience. Being here at CEDIA 2025, the unfortunate thing is most of these guys don't have the luxury that we do to come and experience these awesome, awesome theaters. And this is like a 3-day process of building a room. So I can't imagine how much stress it is getting all the partners together, getting a room that hundreds and possibly even thousands of people can come through here, get an awesome home theater experience. And so I love what you're doing with the space, and I just appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you talking to us. This was a huge amount of work, but it came together for us. We love the room, we love the decor, we love the results, and all of the praise that people are giving us has been worthwhile, makes it worthwhile.
Well, this has been great. Well, we've got more content from CEDIA 2025, so stay tuned to the channel. Hope you have an incredible week. God bless, and I'll catch you in the next video.